Welcome to another episode of TechByte. Today, I'm going to talk about our recent report, which is about the flagship, smartphones and the flagship delight. What are the factors that are, creating those or responsible for those delightful experiences that customers get or derive out of these phones, the flagship phones which they buy. Now, see, there are certain things in the industry which we all agree are should be there in a flagship smartphone, and they are more or less, I would say, expected by users. So they may not result in a delight, especially the delight based on the post purchase experience. That's very important. Of course, brand, you expect that when you're spending, say, 50, 60,000, 70,000 rupees or more on a phone, you expect that it should be from a brand which you are willing to spend on. Second, you also expect that it takes care of, I would say, hygiene factors. When you go up the customer segment, security and safety becomes one of the hygiene factors. These cannot be delight factors. Similarly, there are you expect them to be all rounders. You expect them to be giving an elevated experience in gaming, photography, battery experience. These are all, I would say, given. In this analysis, we try to first identify what are the delights or the trigger delights. What is really triggering this delight in consumers, the flagship smartphone users? The ranking we could find out as per the experiences and opinions of customers. Number one, it is processor, then it is camera, and finally it is battery. Now, this is a bit different than what is the delight factor in the overall smartphone industry. In the smartphone industry overall, you will find battery as the first ranking delight factor, and then you have camera, and finally you have the processor over there. Now, why this change? Why this shift in ranking for flagship smartphone users? The answer is simple. See, just look at or compare it with the automobile industry. Now, why do people buy, say, BMWs, Audis, and Mercedes of the world? They do not only buy it for uh, leather interiors. They do not only buy it for a very, very, I would say, you know, great upholstery. They do not buy it for only those things. That is expected of of these brands. That is expected by the user. They also buy it for the engine performance, the speeds they are able to reach, the responsiveness of the engine. These are very important factors that delight a user of buying such vehicles. Similarly, in the smartphone industry also, people buying these kind of smartphones, they're also expecting similar kind of things. They are expecting superlative experiences. They're expecting very high performances delivered by these smartphones, and that is where the processor plays a critical role in creating that delight. And at the same time, fortunately for this kind of segment of users, the technology understanding is also relatively higher than the average user. They understand that if a certain certain feature or certain experience is getting being delivered by the phone, it is attributed to a processor or similarly any other kind of component of a smartphone. That is where we are seeing that the number one trigger factor of delight in flagship smartphones is of course a processor. Then is the camera. I think camera is I call it the evergreen delight factor. Across segments, people want very good cameras. And finally, you have, of course, the battery experience. We have to understand the flagship users, understand the behavior of these users. They are very much on the go. They use their phones extensively for productivity and other things. Many of the flagship users, they don't even now open laptops. They do everything on their mobile. They check their emails on their mobile. They do all the communication on their mobiles. For them, mobile has become central, and they don't have time to be they're on the go. Say they can't be having chargers everywhere, and at the same time they also don't like carrying these power banks along. It's a hassle for them. That's where the battery also becomes important for them. It's a delight factor, the kind of experience that the battery is able to deliver. Now, in this report, we have also introduced rare quadrant analysis, which is a proprietary analysis developed by us, where we plot the various products of the competition. Now, in this case, in this report, the processors, we have plotted various processors which are powering these flagship smartphones on the basis of customer sentiment. Now, we plot on one axis, we plot the ratings of the customers given for these phones or, for these processors. And on the other axis, we plot the reviews, sentiment score of the review, and then arrive at placing these processors in various quadrants. Fortunately for many of and I think again that's why they are powering these flagship smartphones, and that's why OEMs are choosing these kind of processors for their flagship portfolio, is that majority of these smart processors do fall in the delight factor. There are very few processors there that are out of the delight factor, delight quadrant, which means they are positive on rating as well as review. And how we interpret rating and review is, rating is more of an instant gratification, instant what is the first impression thing, and review is more nuanced, where you really evaluate the product, you take some time, and after evaluating you write a review, you share a review about the product. That is how both factors are very important. The first impression as well as the experience should meet up, and that is where it becomes important. And you can also think of it as an experience to expectation, benchmarking. A rating could be, okay, this is what I'm expecting out of it, and review is, this is what I'm actually getting out of it. And when you plot it, if they are both positive, then yes, you have done the wonder, you have delighted the customer. And then there are gaps, and of course you need to find out what can you do to change those gaps as an OEM. So that's another analysis we have done. We have also filtered, or we have created different views of rear quadrant analysis. We have not, one is of course the overall, what is the overall sentiment, what is the overall sentiment around these processors. But then we have also evaluated them on specifically on performance, processor performance. We have evaluated them on camera. We have evaluated them on battery, which are the three key delight factors. So we evaluated all the parameters on them. And finally, we have also thought of selectively picking up gaming as a use case to check out, because gaming is, I would say, acid test of performance and efficiency. So that's why we chose gaming as one more view of rear quadrant analysis. Then we have also plotted the pure play chipset companies, not the proprietary, because proprietary is eventually primarily being used by a particular OEM. There is nothing to really plot it. It doesn't make much of a sense or interest for readers to understand how is, say, a Google Tensor chipset getting plotted. But it does make sense if we just compare the pure play third party chipset companies, which is MediaTek and Qualcomm in this case. So we have plotted them also. Finally, we have also arrived at the net promoter score, which is a standard industry standard score to check out, okay, how are these, what is the rate of promoting on or recommending the chipset in this flagship tier. I'm sure you're going to find this report very interesting, but this is what I had to share in the video format. I would really encourage all of you to go through the report. The link is given in the comment section of this video, and would love to hear more about you being a flagship user. What are your experiences, or if you are planning to kind of upgrade to a flagship experience, what are your expectations, what are your experiences, how important is processor to you? Would love to understand all these things from you. That's what I have for today in TechByte. I'll be back with you in another episode. Till then, enjoy tech.